51 years have passed since the Castro brothers, Fidel and Raúl, took power in Cuba. Since then, they have controlled all aspects of Cubans' lives. Neither the North American embargo nor the fall of its most faithful ally, the former Soviet Union, not to mention years of international isolation, have served to end a regime that has been one of the longest-serving communist dictatorships in history. Last July, thanks to the mediation efforts of the Catholic Church, 52 political dissidents were released from Cuban prisons and immediately expelled from the country. 4 of those prisoners, Antonio Diaz, Ricardo González, Normando Hernández and Alejandro González Raga, came to Brussels following steps taken by the EPP group to communicate the difficult situation in their country to the EU institutions.
I want to testify, as I said to the President, that I went to prison because I criticised the quality of our bread and was sanctioned with long prison sentences in summary trials, sentences that varied between 6 and 8 years. Between February and July of this year alone, the Cuban government made 746 arrests. And the president of the Cuban government, Raúl Castro, has made statements to the press saying that there will be no impunity for his enemies. And remember that the enemies are all those who exercise their rights.
The words of Normando Hernández are testimony to the fact that nothing has changed in Cuba in recent times. The EU broke relations with Cuba in 1996, a unanimous joint position that one European government, the Spanish Socialist government, wants to modify because it says that things have changed. The dissidents, for whom the Spanish government are just following the script written by the Castro brother dictatorship, do not agree. They have never been received or listened to by the Spanish government.
The joint position has transmitted a positive message to the people of Cuba, who, in the end, will be responsible for change. It has transmitted a message of solidarity with their claims for freedom, and we think that is enough because the changes in Cuba should come from inside Cuba.
One of the core values of the European People's Party is the defence of freedom and democracy, and the lack of either in Cuba means that the EPP group will not take part in any modifications to the current position. MEP and Secretary-General of the EPP, Antonio López Istúriz, explains the position of EPP leaders.
What is important is to relay the testimony these dissidents have given to our political assembly, to all member parties, to transmit this testimony to those institutions that are going to decide very soon on the EU common position on Cuba. That will happen on Wednesday when EPP foreign ministers meeting for breakfast will receive a letter and details of the dissidents' testimony, and later during the summit of EPP leaders where all our prime ministers meet. They will also receive the same testimony as the EPP president Wilfried Martens has decided to back their claims in front of all prime ministers.
Thanks to EPP group member José Ignacio Salafranca, one of the great experts on Latin America, the Cuban dissidents have spent 3 days in Brussels meeting with various political groups and with the President of the European Parliament, Jerzy Buzek, who knows firsthand what it's like to live under a communist dictatorship.
Cuban people should enjoy the full human rights and freedoms and all the possibilities to develop in free country, not only in their own country, not only in exile.
The socialist initiative of rapprochement with the Castro brothers' dictatorship is, as we speak, on the agenda of EU foreign affairs ministers. No decision is expected until the end of October, but the members of the EPP group will raise their voice again to plead for no change in the EU position until real steps toward democracy have been taken and until the dissidents, now free, can enjoy it in their country of origin.